it certainly was never on the table to sound like Hatebreed, you know.
Well, because they suck. Hatebreed is a terrible band.
I don't think so.
Oh, come on. Look into that camera and tell me that Hatebreed is not a terrible band.
I enjoy Hatebreed.
Come on.
No, it's true. That pure aggression is something that's also a part of this family of punk and hardcore.
1970s were made in hardcore. Millennial noise from the algorithm, paying for culture, paying for it. 2000 online, holiday, poverty vision. 90s from Tiananmen Square. 1970s.
Ja, neue Ausgabe Kesselpunks. Und ich freue mich ganz besonders, dass heute einer meiner Lieblings-Punkrock-Sänger hier ist, und zwar Thomas von Strike Anyhwhere, und seine neue Band heißt Great Collapse. Hey Thomas.
Hi. Nice to see you again.
Nice to see you again. Yeah, you have a new band.
I do.
Great Collapse. Why?
It's a good question. Well, the Strike Anywhere is sort of slowed down a bit. Not broken up, not really on a hiatus, but just people are busy having new families and working. So I got together with Great Collapse in 2.5 years ago when Joe, the bass player, worked with me at the Epitaph Kings Road warehouse in East LA. And it was a hot day and we were eating vegan pizza on the loading dock. After like sorting through and filing everything away in the warehouse and working for our friends' bands essentially. And he was like, we've been writing some songs and we would like you to sing for them. And I was like, who is this we? And some fellows I hadn't met yet. And then a year passed, they sent me some music. I listened to it. They'd added, it was Tom and Joe. And then they added Chris and Kyle from Comeback Kid on drums. And that was the first lineup of the band. That's the band that recorded for the Elemental EP. Then Kyle, everyone was busy with their bands still, so there wasn't a lot of time to play shows. And eventually we got our first show with Propaganda and War on Women and Flatliners, and we kind of appeared there unannounced, and all the folks in those bands who have been our friends for years were like, hey, good to see you, what are you doing? We're like, oh yeah, we're gonna play with the first band. And they were like, what is this? So we played without any announcement or anything like that. It was really fun. So then we played about a dozen shows in California, play Gilman Street in Berkeley, play first of 8 on hardcore bills all over Southern California. Don't put our name on the flyers. We just wanted something, well, for whatever reason, just to play and just to have these songs and not make a big deal out of it.
But how did people react when they saw you guys on stage and it was like a secret gig almost?
I don't know. I think sometimes people recognized this and thought it was interesting. Other times people didn't seem to care. Shows in the US are different.
My theory is that after you struck anywhere and attacked the system from all sides, now you managed to get it done and have the Great Collapse.
Maybe. That's as good as any explanation. I guess it's kind of meant to be as an answer. There's been a lot of like pop culture, political science, sort of quasi-academic books lately about the various collapses of civilization, of society, of even the psychosocial context of our species. So this is sort of my answer to those ideas, that like maybe we are at the end of history. Like one of the many examples, one of the collapses that is being spoken about is the end of like a global geopolitical system, because there's been so much control, so much corruption, that the ideas themselves are disintegrating. The example, one of the better examples of this recently is the rise of Donald Trump. He is a ridiculous candidate who is not accountable, contradicts himself constantly, but is a grandiose kind of American huckster, like a carnival showman. And he's not that different from, say, Silvio Berlusconi.
But then on the other hand, for the first time in forever, Bernie Sanders, a man like Bernie Sanders comes up who...
No doubt.
Who talks like no other US politician before him, and who is on the far left even of the Democratic Party.
His operating style isn't that different from, say, Ralph Nader. except that Bernie Sanders has been like a thriving and successful politician, like a senator and a governor of Vermont and an independent, and he has a lot more traction with people than, say, Ralph Nader, who always seemed like a kind of academic alternative person. But I guess my point is that, like, at some point, late global capitalism will only produce in democracies these kinds of carnival maniacs like Berlusconi, like Putin, like Trump, because you have to have this sense of they're operating at a different level. Like, there's no honesty anymore, there's no integrity, it's just money and influence buying reality itself. So that's one of the ideas that Great Collapse speaks about, is this sense of like reality itself being this projection, you know, something that can't be really proven anymore, and it's very unstable.
But the end of capitalism, or the end of history itself, has been an idea for over a century now.
Probably.
I mean, in the early 1900s, people said that this is we're living in the end times, and there were books written about it, and it still went on and on and on.
I think the difference, one of the differences, is to sort of move this away from like a religious apocalypse or a physical Armageddon. This is more of just what it means to be a human being and to deal with the mess of structures and the ghosts of structures. So I think this would be the reason that these collapses are different, is because they have a little more of an anchor in what we're living in, and not just what madmen in the deserts predicted 2,000, 4,000 years ago. Not that those things aren't relevant either, but I think there's a little more sense that this sense of Armageddon has a bit more to do with what we're really seeing, what we're living through at the moment, and not just what we dream about after too much to drink.
But that sounds like it's about time now to go out and scream against everything, and yet instead the Great Collapse is more popular than, let's say, the early Strike Anyhwhere records.
Maybe.
Isn't that a contradiction?
I don't really think that's true. I mean, it doesn't matter. If you mean popular, like more able to be played on the radio or something, the songs are faster, they're in weird time signatures, and there's decidedly heavier mosh parts in Great Collapse, just because of the pedigree of the people. I don't know. It seems to be the same. I mean, in some ways, aggressive political punk music, that it seems to be the only thing I know how to do. So I don't know. If people can sing along, that's fine. But people have been singing along to other bands I've been in, and all the bands the other guys in Great Collapse have been in for a while. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it's popular. If you think it is, that's cool. People thought every record that succeeds the previous record is always popular, no matter what it actually sounds like. So I think that might just be an illusion of taste.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
We have to stop. Also, das war das Interview mit Thomas, Great Collapse und natürlich Strike Anyhwhere. Still around, right?
Indeed, indeed. Still around, just moving at a slower pace.
We're waiting for the next tour of Strike Anyhwhere, but maybe you come back with Great Collapse. I don't know.
Maybe.
Das war's. Bis zum nächsten Mal. Okay?
All right, guys.